Oh, headphones are on. Let's get this straight. All right, here we are. So, sorry about the audio drift that happened Saturday when I was discussing that OSHA ruling. So, hoping that I have a less problem this time, though it doesn't seem that way. But I'm watching it. That's why I'll have the headphones on. Now I know why. Anyway, today we are doing the SARS boat. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The SARS boat. Anyway, for those of you who are old enough to remember that show, that's what I thought of when I saw these stories, and I wanted to bring these up. So what inspired this was those of you who know I play blackjack, and if you're serious about that, you probably listen to a podcast, Gambling with an Edge, or you look at the website, Gambling with an Edge, that's Las Vegas Advisor, and Bob Dancer on there. Enough respect. Was discussing his recent cruises, and there was a bit of a controversy in the comments section based on what he said. And he's commented on the COVID situation and dealing with casinos. And if you don't know, Bob Dancer is elderly, and so he took one of the shots. Don't know which, not my business. And he has some pretty strong opinions about it. And some of the readership has some opinions. They think people are contrary, are spreading misinformation. And I just pointed out at the time, the first article I'm going to bring up, that his trip could have gone differently. So if you don't know, there are cruises going on, and they have particular rules to get on. And since the Omicron variant is going along, people are finding out what we've been saying, that, stuff hasn't been the way they claimed it would be. So without further ado, let's get into the first article on the first SARS boat. All right. So first, we have this: a cruise ship returns to Miami with 48 coronavirus cases. Now, clearly, they just let any old body get on the ship, didn't check anything, didn't have any requirements, because we know, according to the CDC, that these vaccines are safe and effective at stopping COVID. So something must be wrong with the story, because it can't be possible, according to the CDC. So let's look at this story. Dozens of passengers and crew aboard a Royal Caribbean ship tested positive for coronavirus last week, according to the cruise line. Dozens. That's December 2021. The ship departed on December 11th for a 7-night Caribbean cruise and returned to the port in Miami on Saturday. The cases were identified because of contact tracing after a guest tested positive. Question: were the cases identified because the people were feeling ill, or just because they were told? Inquiring minds want to know. Now let's look at some more of the details. The cruise lines said that the ship sailed with 95% of its guests aboard fully vaccinated. Period. Let's stop. Let's stop right there. I know you can see the rest, but listen. 95%. Now, isn't that supposed to be herd immunity, right? It's supposed to be herd immunity. Herd immunity. And that 98% of the people who tested positive were fully vaccinated. It was not immediately clear whether any of the people who tested positive had received a booster shot of a COVID-19 vaccine. So 95% vaccinated and 98% of the dozens tested positive were fully vaccinated. Now, me, I would have questions. I would have serious questions. My questions might be medical misinformation, but I have questions. Now, what were the requirements to get on the SARS ship? Exciting and new. Well, the Royal Caribbean requires travelers 12 and older to be fully vaccinated. So that's all the adults. I don't know how many kids were on this thing, but that's all the adults. And so you took 1, 2, maybe 3, and you had to test negative before boarding the ship. I have my pass here, sir. I have the bruises on my arm, and I've got the test results. I got an A. I'm an A student. I'm clean. I'm super duper clean. I'm protected. Children who are not yet vaccinated must provide a negative PCR test result before sailing and test negative at the terminal before boarding. Let's wrap this up. 1, 2. You got your papers? And anybody else who came on had to do the spit or the jab in the nose and show proof and got tested at the terminal. So nobody on the ship was supposed to get infected, according to the CDC. I got questions. Because if you took 2 to the arm, showed your papers, and still had dozens of people infected, did the birds do it? Did a seagull swoop down and infect the passengers? I got questions I need to know because the CDC said, you know what they said. In addition, the company said that all its crew members were fully vaccinated and were tested weekly. I got in a question. I took my shots as a kid. I ain't never been tested weekly for shit that I've been vaccinated against. What's going on? I got questions. So, we had 17 cases identified in the Norwegian breakaway. I guess they're going to call it the breakthrough cruise. Exciting and new. Let's go to the next episode of SARS boat. Exciting and new. Dozens of people. Oh, December 23rd. 23rd, 3 days later. Dozens of people. See, let me stop. I had to check to make sure it was a different ship, because I thought they were talking about the same ship. But see, look, this is the thing of the sea, Odyssey of the Seas, and this one was the Symphony of the Seas. So it's two different ships. Let's go back. So this one went to Fort Lauderdale. And if you're familiar with the area, Miami is south of Fort Lauderdale, but it's driving distance. So if you were in like New York, that's like going from the tip of Manhattan up to the top of Manhattan. That's what that's like. All right, not that far. So anyway, let's go and look there. Dozens of people, dozens. It's like they got in 6 packs aboard the Royal Caribbean International Cruise Ship, tested positive for coronavirus after it set sail from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Maybe it was the same seagulls. 55 fully vaccinated passengers and crew members on the ship tested positive. The cruise line said in a statement on Thursday, noting that the number represented 1.1% of those on board. Now, that's an interesting thing. You know, for all the panicking that's going on, you have a ship, basically a subway on water, where, I mean, you got fresh air. You got more fresh air than a subway, so that's not fair. I mean, an elevated subway. Like I guess that's the one in Chicago, the L, right? All these people, especially the ones below deck, where you got the fake windows. Y'all know, doing the cheap seats, you know, the cheap cabins, you know what I'm talking about. They got the fake windows. So you're dealing with recirculated air. So you know when norovirus breaks out on those ships, it can be pretty bad because everyone's in confined. And yet, with this highly contagious variant, only 1.1% of the people on board were infected. That's good. I think that's pretty good, personally. But I'm just saying, it's 1.1. You still had 55 fully vaccinated people getting infected. What we told back in January December, January, February, March. What are they saying now? Right? Cases spiking. You gotta get your shot. The ship, which was on an 8-9 cruise, said it will not sail to Curacao and Aruba as planned. It remained at sea until it returns to Fort Lauderdale on Sunday. The decision was made with the islands out of an abundance caution during the current trend of COVID-19 in destinations communities. People still think they can run and hide. I'm telling you, everybody's gonna get their turn. And if you're fortunate, you don't know that you had your turn. Now it says so. It can carry 5,500 and 1,600 crew members. So that's 7,000, 7,000 people. Only 1.11%. That's pretty bad. So they were almost at capacity. So here's it saying. So 48 people. So this is right. So this is where they reported on the one I did before about one in Miami with the 48 people. And here we go. 12 and over to be fully vaccinated. Test negative before boarding. Young children who are not vaccinated must have a negative PCR result before sailing and test negative at the terminal before boarding. I didn't know that. I didn't know. Test negative at the terminal before. So let's get this straight, right? You took and you showed, or you didn't take and you showed, and they still made you, and you were negative. I don't know what their cycle count was. Did they have one of those low cycle counts? They wouldn't catch like the but still. So we got to ask questions. Those PCR tests, did they miss somebody? Was there a false negative? Or are we going with the seagull? The seagull swooped in during the dude and farted. I don't know. Hey, I'm just reading news. Because these people, I'm going back to the original reason why I brought this up. He had a decent trip with his wife, and I wished him well. I don't wish any ill on him, but it could have easily been like this, easily. And I think on his true, they did the forehead temperature checks, and if you failed that, you didn't get on the ship. I'm pretty certain that a lot of these people who were positive, did not have the temp test, or they passed it. So there you are. I'm just gonna say, everyone thinks they can run and hide. Now, in other news, this is kind of related. Let's look at what's going on in New York. See, I've been telling people this. I told people while I was going through the drama at the job, it's not going to stop it too. In fact, I said this back in November of 2020 when Operation Warp Speed delivered. And they said, it's going to be 2 shots. Like, no, it's going to be 2 shots. I'm like, no, it's going to be more. Trust me. Why did I say that? I said that because early on, I'm watching the audio drift. Okay, you caught up. Early on, I noticed that it was like the flu. Really highly contagious respiratory virus. And coronaviruses were known to mutate. I said, if this thing starts mutating, like the influenza, it's likely that any vaccine that's made is gonna just be good for a certain subset, and you'd have to keep taking them. Now, I could have been wrong, but that was my prediction. I said something this infective and this transmissible is usually not a one done thing. So, me personally, I decide not to take flu shots because I look at, they have to change the formulation each year, and I didn't want to deal with that. So, I just decided not to. I do other things. And sometimes the other things don't work. And I've had flus where I had 103-degree temperature. Not fun, but that's what it is. I might change my mind if I'm 70 and not as healthy. But anyway, point being, I knew it was not going to be one and done. Lo and behold, that happened. So then when they started talking about these vaccine passports, I knew there was going to be a problem because I said, if you can't stop it with the one and done, which is my standard, then you're going to be doing 3, 4, 5. And they started rolling that out. So here we are. Hochul, is that Hochul or Hochul? I actually don't know. I don't watch the news anymore. So I don't hear the pronunciations. Phonics is important. Anyways, considering booster shot mandates for healthcare workers. It will not just be healthcare workers. Trust me on that. They just get it first. All right. Get my auto drift again. All right. So see, or you hear why she's not doing it. You're considering it because people who just got their shots can't take the third yet. So the people who took it in January through June, they would still be liable. So you want to cover those people, right? Right. That's what they want to do. That's their business. I'm not telling them. I'm just reading. But I just want to let you know it's not going to stop at 3. That's why I'm against these mandates. It's not going to stop. It's a fake emergency. When I say fake emergency, that they're abusing their power. There's an issue for certain people, but they're abusing their power. And what kind of shows this is, I'm going to show some data out of the UK. So, boom. So what we're looking at here is how many of London's COVID admissions were at hospital or for a different reason. Now, a lot of us, we said that there were people in the hospital with COVID rather than from COVID. And people said we're giving misinformation and whatnot. Well, here we go, out of London, and they're showing that out of 2,800 people, right, 3/4 were not there because of COVID, right? They were tested once they got there and discovered they had COVID. But the reason for them going to the hospital was because of something else. And that's really important because we've said that. So we look at the states, we got to ask this question. How many with? How many from? That's the thing. I see you, Master Distiller, sorry, with the ferritin spike protein. I was actually reading about it before this broadcast. I'm not informed on it enough to make a comment, so I'm gonna pass on commenting on that. But yeah, I've been looking at that, particularly because it has the iron and the implications for magnetic disruption. But I want to go back to this because going back to Hochul is, let's see if we can get this up here. And let's go to worldometer, right? I'll go over here. And we're going to do United States. Still lagging in recovered compared to other countries. But let's get down to New York. Make sure you can see this. All right. So 3 million lagging in recovered, but that's because of what Cuomo did in the first. But first of all, so you'll see they'll talk about upstate. Upstate New York is having this huge case. Well, they do per 100,000, right? That's their cover. But when you look at the actual numbers, is where we go. So Kings, that's Brooklyn, Suffolk, Queens, Nassau, Bronx, Manhattan, Westchester. These are all downstate. And look at these numbers. 6,000, 3,000, 5,000, 3,000, 3,000, 5,000, right? Let's just put that, right? Just so people don't think I'm cheating, right? Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Nassau, Suffolk, Bronx, Westchester, right? We cut off Westchester because it's technically upstate, right? But Bronx, that all of these are downstate, these massive numbers. And you go up here and you see, let's take Brooklyn alone has more cases than Erie, Orange, Rockland, Monroe, Onondaga, Dutchess, Saratoga, Albany, Oneida, Broome, Niagara, Tompkins. Like the whole of upstate is less than Brooklyn alone. Right? Less than Brooklyn alone. And they've been hammering people upstate about how they're under vaccinated and they're the problem. I got questions. But that's not why I brought you over here. What I brought you over here for is look at these cases, right? Now, this is where the Cuomo I call it the Cuomo pandemic, the Cuomo-demic, where he sent those people into the nursing homes. And y'all should have taken care of him for that. Taking care of him. Correct my English. He shouldn't have been able to get away with that. Y'all mad because he flirted with some people who work for him, but he can send sick people with a disease known to kill the elderly and sent them into the nursing homes and then covered it up. We know that. That's a felony. And he ain't get hammed up for that? Anyway, it's my rant. So this is the Cuomo-demic, right? And then was that second wave, right? And they put the vaccine mandates, and you're gonna get fired, right? This is what's all going on here, and you're gonna get fired, right? We're all down. You're gonna get fired. We want you out. You better take this shot or else, right? And they letting people go and talking about how they got 90% this, and they firing nurses and doctors in the middle of a pandemic. And then what? Boom. Yeah, more cases where there are fully vaccinated New Yorkers. And you have more cases than when it began. I got my papers, yo. Please let me work. Now, and they still locking people down, right? They're shutting down people and telling you you can't go to the gym, you can't go to the restaurant, you can't sit down someplace. It's like Jim Crow all over again. And it's not working for the stated purpose. And we got to sit here till January 7th and hope, please, Mrs. Supreme Court, would you please restore our inalienable rights to not have people put stuff in our bodies? Please. That's why I said it was the USSA. Because none of this should be happening. But they need to explain this. She's telling you to get a third shot when New York has a year of vaccines and has the highest cases ever. Ever. You got case on case on case. They stacking cases. But I'm going to say this because we need to hear this. This is important. Look at the death trap. Now, this is important. I think this is very good news. So here we have Cuomo, right? This is Cuomo because they're estimated about basically doubled the death rate. So it would have been down here had it not been for Cuomo, right? So this is Cuomo. And we see last year, but they didn't match that, which I think, it may have been maybe here. That's why I said that. But look at this right here. If we go back to here, we're down 50%. So since the deaths aren't up here, why y'all trying to get this third booster? I mean, do you not understand that people will die? And assuming this becomes endemic, you're going to have people die, just like people die of influenza every year. And we don't shut things down and put stuff on people's faces and tell them they have to take this and that. We don't do that. So what's the emergency? Because, yeah, you have a lot of cases, but if people aren't dying, what are you doing? So I wanted to bring that up because, you have these SARS boats, exciting and new, where fully vaccinated passengers are still getting infected. And we got to ask some serious questions. And, I'm asking them. I'm hoping other people ask them. But that's the deal. You got to ask the questions. So that's it for Garvey's Ghost TV. I know it's a short one compared to that long legal brief. Those are harder to do. But I just wanted to bring that up. I wish happy holidays to people in case I don't do another one until probably next week. Most likely next week. And there's more information for you. So, again, thanks for tuning in. Share, like, subscribe. And you can Zell me if you want to give me some other signs of appreciation. Ding and ding and ding.